And you're on the leader in pure classic country, 98.7 and AM 1580 WLIJ. Of course, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship weekend coming this Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. And we have a distinguished guest, another MRN affiliate member, another MRN member of the MRN crew. It's Mr. Jason Toy. How you doing this afternoon, sir?
Doing great, Brandon. And I will say, you're not wrong in one aspect. I'm also an affiliate, too, because I have my radio stations, a lot like you guys there in Shelbyville. I'm up here in getting ready to head to Phoenix here actually tomorrow morning, but I've got my radio stations in Huntington, West Virginia, so I'm right on the border of Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia.
Right,
so.
That's right. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, you are the OM and program director there for WXBW Big Buck Country 101.5 in Huntington, and also see you got your father as well, Madeline and Spencer. How old are they?
So my daughter Madeline just graduated college last year. She went to college in the northern part of West Virginia called Glenville State University. Graduated criminal justice. She's back in Huntington now, working in her career field, which is great. She's loving that. And my son Spencer is a junior who is actually at Shawnee State University, which is in Portsmouth, Ohio, down the river from us here now. But he is actually transferring in January up here to Marshall because of the curriculum he's in when it comes to into video production type things. Have a bigger course offering here at Marshall, so which I'm glad he's coming back to my alma mater. So I'm looking forward to that.
I got to know, what do they think about Dad's job over the years?
They find it annoying sometimes.
Just the travel,
everywhere, in places we go, and travel obviously, but then being around here, you know how it is there in Shelbyville and how it is here in the Huntington Ashland area. Everybody kind of knows everybody. So when we go out, it's always we're talking either Marshall, we're talking NASCAR, we're talking just life in general because we all kind of know each other around here. So they find that part annoying, but they do think it's pretty cool I've taken them to a race or two over the years, especially when the Kentucky Speedway was running because it was in our own backyard here, and we were able to do that. So they like that aspect of things.
Well, you've been with the Motor Racing Network since 1998 as a pit reporter and turn announcer, and having to put up probably with Steve Post, I'd imagine, for most of those years. There's one thing they may not know about you. Marshall University, you were a college football player. What was that like?
Yeah, I grew up, actually, I was born and raised in Tampa, Florida, just outside of Tampa, so I grew up racing down there at East Bay Raceway with my dad, but I always played football, and my family roots run through West Virginia, and would come up here as a kid and just fell in love with the mountains and the seasons changing and all that, so had an opportunity to when, Marshall University gave me a chance to come up here and walk on in football. I think, honestly, if I didn't play football, I still probably would have came to Marshall because, being where it is, and I was 1,000 miles away from home, which was cool, and all that. But and it was a blessing, truly was. This is still my home to this day. I love this community here. I love being a part of. I played football a handful of years and got hurt a couple of times and realized, what, maybe God's telling me I need to go a different direction on things and go to where I was really passionate about, and that was the broadcasting side of things. And got done playing ball, went over and changed my major immediately to broadcasting. Went straight from there to the student radio station that we have at Marshall University, which allows us to be able to broadcast men's basketball games and college football games, because a lot of big universities won't allow the student stations to do that, and took advantage of the opportunity and grew from there, and had an opportunity to work at a racetrack locally up here in West Virginia and kind of build my skills up there, and then eventually got an opportunity with MRN and audition at Martinsville at a Cup happy hour practice back when they used to run happy hour. And then a couple weeks after that, I was doing my first race at Bristol up on the turn at the Bristol Motor Speedway for the Truck Series, and that was 25 years ago this year. So I started off in college, so I was kind of the young kid coming in, and then now I'm the old man, I guess. I'm even though Steve Post gets me by age, in time at MRN, I've got him by I think about 10 years.
Man, it's just crazy how the Lord puts everything all together, and just how He just connected everything in your life there to get to where you are today, and able to keep all those things also going along with it. Well, we have the championship weekend coming up, Jason, and it's just the future of the sport before our very eyes. These four drivers, all really young. When your elder statesman is the the 2021 champion Kyle Larson, it really starts to put things into perspective. What are some things you think personally we should watch out for this weekend that fans may not be thinking of?
I think, honestly, when we bring you the broadcast, especially for Sunday, you got 4 hungry drivers. You got a guy that knows how to win a championship and knows how to win at Phoenix. You got another driver in William Byron that is has had a great season this year, and had a little struggle the last couple of weeks, but he worked his way into the playoffs and, of course, into the championships here this time. You got a story with Ryan Blaney that they had a slow start to the year, but got consistent and continued to run better and better as it went on. Picked up the win last week at Martinsville. I think there's so many different storylines going into this, which is going to make it, I think, interesting. Now, what we'll keep an eye on a lot is, which I love the championship, the way we have this, because you got a race within the race. So you got the race, people wanting to close out the year. Maybe they're trying to build momentum for next year, which is great. But you also got a championship run that's going on in the middle of that too. And I love the strategies that we'll keep a hold of here. Myself, Steve Post, Chris Wilner will be on pit road, but following along with these crews on the pit stops, because we saw it when Kyle Larson won. It was an excellent pit stop that got him out in front, eventually picking up that win. So I think that's what's going to be the fun part in this race weekend. And, of course, I think the one that's there that has had a consistent, solid season is Christopher Bell, too. He can run this track very well. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned strategy because, you're one of our pit road guys. So, who coming into this weekend has the most clutch pit crew, do you think, for that crucial last stop of the race? It always seems to come that way, last stage, a few laps to go, last fuel window, and it just depends on who can get it done lickety-split. Who's that going to be?
Well, and you look at it between the 5-car and the 24-car with Larson and with William Byron, they've had very good, consistent, fast pit stops this season. I think Christopher Bell's team has done a very good job on the pit road, and they've been consistent with it too. For Ryan Blaney, had a few hiccups throughout the year, but I can guarantee that the point of emphasis this whole week has been those pit stops, and they have been working those nonstop. They're going to work on until they got to get on the airplane to go to Phoenix. So I think that if anybody had an advantage on this one, I think it's definitely the Hendrick crew that has done very well consistently throughout the season, and then, of course, Bell there, and I think for Blaney. And, for me, Blaney's kind of got really nothing to lose on this. He's in the play, and that's just his demeanor, and the way he's running. He wants to run for the win. He's going to run for the championship, but he is relaxed, and that's what's going to be great to kind of watch this progress throughout the race weekend.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Ryan Blaney, definitely one of the chill guys, coming off a lot of momentum there, and then you got the champion, and then you got the other two, Byron with the breakout year, Bell always coming in clutch this year and last year, of course, like the final races of the rounds, able to make his way through at the very end. Final question here for you. Do you think all of these drivers here are going to battle in the top 5 for most of the race? Phoenix seems to be that kind of track where, you can make your way through that dog leg and jut out 5 wide or, whatever you want to do. But when it comes down to it, it's one of those tracks where either your car has it or you don't. Do you think they're all going to be fighting for the top 5 position?
Oh, I think they definitely will be, and you have to. You got to be aggressive in this, but you also got to be kind of calm in the aspect too, because 312 laps on this track is a long way. You think about it. It's even though it's a 1-mile track, things will relatively go quickly. You got time to get things done, but you also got time to get pushed to the back and not advance up because it is very hard to pass. And I think they're going to be aggressive there. I think they're going to be aggressive on and off pit road is going to be the big thing too. And who doesn't commit the mistakes, I think, is going to be the one that wins the championship. And and I know you guys carrying the cup races, but I think that same scenario goes through all the other 3, the other 2 big series championships that we have with the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. And, of course, we got an ARCA West race championship that'll be determined on Friday. I think that for the Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup, who commits the least amount of mistakes throughout the afternoon, from pit stop 1 to the last pit stop to what they do on the racetrack, is going to be the one that finds himself out there. This is the race that you've got to be on your A game every single time you come down that pit road.
And that's exactly why we love it. It's the championship weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series this Sunday afternoon, November 5th at 1 p.m. with the Motor Racing Network here on WLIJ. That's MRN pit reporter and turn announcer Jason Toy. You'll hear him Sunday afternoon. Jason, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's a great pleasure, and one of the things that I am passionate about too is I love local hometown radio stations, especially what you guys have there in Shelbyville. And I got to imagine high school football season. You guys are playoffs right now, right?
Oh yes, Shelbyville Central Golden Eagles. They are going to be playing Hillsboro this Friday in round 1, and they've had a 9-1 season. They're looking to go all the way to Chattanooga if we can.
That makes it fun, doesn't it?
It sure does.
That's what it's all about. Football Friday nights, and I'm lucky enough in the aspect of when I'm not on the road with MRN on a Friday night, I'm doing a game. So that's the one hard thing about it, is that when I'm on the road and I'm watching and listening back to my stations here and our games here, because we start playoffs next week in West Virginia. Ohio is already in their second week of playoffs. They'll roll in this Friday. Kentucky starts their first week of playoffs this week too. So this is the perfect time of the year. If you're a sports fan, doesn't matter if you're a race fan or anything else, this is the perfect time of the year.
I completely agree, no doubt there. And we've got basketball coming up November 14th, too, so it's just kind of all around, man. Jason Toy of the Motor Racing Network, thank you so much, sir.
I appreciate you, man.
Blaney, Bell, Byron, and Larson. It all comes down to this. The NASCAR Cup Series Championship weekend, Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. from Phoenix Raceway, right here with the Motor Racing Network on WLIJ.